Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Edessa: The Dark Crusade Season 2. Tonight, we set the scene within the illustrious Guildhall of the Artisans. The particular guild that, well, deals in anything particularly decorative, artistic, or any craft of real significance and affluence that isn't entirely practical. Everything from painting and drawing to sculpting and artistic carpentry. Even certain furnishings fall under the purview of the Artisans Guild. But tonight, the halls have been cleared, save for the most valued pieces that the journeymen, the apprentices, and the masters themselves have created. As Keeper Giles has taken out the space for it to be utilized as the Elysium for this evening. A very hasty Elysium, one a gathering called at the behest of the prince, due to recent events. This praxis wore rogue packs, coteries of fledgling Cainites that have been embraced seemingly purely to kill and destroy those that now reside within the city, led by 3 elders who, for whatever reason, feel the need to unleash torment after torment upon the otherwise a peaceful domain of Edessa. So this Elysium has been called, as in itself, a call to action. A way for Cainites to gather, to form plans, to iron out details of those orders that have already been given, and for a means for said Cainites to organize, as the clans have been ever so disparate recently, and they need something to rally around. And if Elysium isn't a place to do it, then there is perhaps no place that can unify the clans against this common threat. And so that is where we begin this scene, with all of you entering Elysium. It is extremely heavily guarded. There are city watch patrols everywhere around the guild halls. There are several stationary groups that guard the space. There are many Gould guards. And as you enter the main foyer, upon which Giles is there to greet you, at which point he leads you all up to the 1st floor, or for Americans, the 2nd floor, upon which there is the main hall for this evening's Cainite gathering, of which there are numerous pieces, paintings, sculptures, carvings, artifices, all on display. And some of the furnishings are even being used as seating for tonight's gathering. Yes, that is where the scene begins. You're all free to introduce yourself. We'll start with Tristan.
Tristan, for his part, is quick to arrive, for he has been expecting some kind of meeting for some time now, and he doesn't want to waste a single second of it. So, since he enters, he will go to the first floor, make the polite small talk, the whole force shebang, and kind of just to wait and look at who is here.
Pardon? I didn't quite catch the last part of that.
He'll as soon as he enters the first floor, he'll kind of just make polite small talk and just kind of size up the people that are here, like who is here and like what is their general attitude.
Oh, wait, one of those is duplicated.
A lot of people are here.
Oh, that was not what I meant to do.
Ah.
1 second, I'll just fix this one real quick. Whoops.
A failure by the storyteller.
Well,
Yes.
Tristan will see Madeline. She'll be there somewhat early. Yeah, she's again protected. She's wearing armor. Just maybe a sign of the severity of the situation. Well, of the general state of the city. She enters. She is smiling. As polite as always. You'll notice that she will greet, she will actually greet the young Bruja who helped with their escape, or helped the people that they were captured. She will greet her, and she will greet people, but she seems a bit more formal, or a bit more quick, of just a bit more businesslike tonight.
Margot is also here. She got her hair done by one of her one of her clanmates servants who does hair, and I have the picture here somewhere. Her hair is done beautifully. Look, flowers, custodal. And her dress is also very much representative of her clan. It's a clan. It's the one she was wearing when she became Primogen. It's a deep blue dress that's styled in, well, it's intertwined and with little pieces of metal, so that there's flowers or roses. It forms roses all over the dress.
Irene.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Irene will arrive at the Elysium. We'll go to the second floor first, if you're British, and she'll greet the keeper, of course, with a curtsy, because of course you greet the host first, and we'll just kind of go stand in a bit of a more quiet corner for now, preferably near a window.
Before Memnon enters, he'd have maybe made one round around the building, just making a short patrol, even though he could see that the Elysium is heavily guarded. Nonetheless, given his position as Hound, it's something that he would just make a note of doing. When he enters, I believe the host, Giles, would see him coming in unarmed, but clad in his composite leather armor. And yeah, he'll just introduce himself to Giles and greet him with, it's a good to see that you are still here, given the night's circumstances.
Oh, one moment as I switch over to Gars. Let's see. Yes, well, I suppose it was a blessing in disguise that I did not partake in the festivities of Constantinople.
Yes, those of us who remained did have an advantage. And as neighbors, I hope at some time we can speak at length about, well, engineering some better fences for our mutual defense.
Ah, yes, that is something I wish to discuss with you and Omar Shadid when you had the time, perhaps later on this evening.
Splendid. And yeah, with that, Memnon will make his way to where familiar faces are gathering.
Yeah. While this goes on, Evelyn can come in.
Sorry, was talking to the boyfriend, so. Evelyn would have arrived with Quarantin. She tries not to go anywhere without him, after all. And the last time she went somewhere without him, it didn't end very well. She would be dressed in a floor-length black gown, making sure to look her best this evening. She would let Quarantin start any introductions that needed to be made.
Quarantin, of course, introduces you to the keeper as you enter. And when he does so, Gars will go to bow, but then will tilt his head, and he will kind of squint. You'll say, "I believe I've seen you before. You were at Lihua's tea house, weren't you?"
Oh, yes, we were, just the other evening.
I guess with the yes, you were with Lady Isabella. And Amelie and Masterston, yes, I remember. He just kind of he kind of like has two of his fingers together and he kind of wheels them as if he's trying to recall all of it. No, I'm...
Bitches Primogen was here.
No, I'm glad you were able to make it. I'm aware that the slums are having it rougher than some other districts in the area. If you have any need for protection or shelter against these this fledgling horde, feel free to ask me, and I can make arrangements for either of you.
Thank you, Keeper. That is a kind offer.
I'm sure you have it in hand, but I wouldn't want you to feel as if you're going at it alone.
I am very rarely alone.
Very much pleases me. But Yes, I'm glad. Enjoy the evening. We are almost full to capacity, although we are missing a few of us.
And the same to you, Keeper.
He'll nod to you. You can walk in, and again, you kind of see everybody else. You see the prince and the seneschal conversing with people. You see Amelie. Corentin goes over to her. She seems to be having an awkward discussion. This incredibly ugly, horned-looking creature appears to be having a heck of a time with her. He seems to be fairly boisterous, not aggressive. He actually seems to be encouraging Amelie to have a bit more confidence. But yes, she looks very shifty, as she pretty much always does.
Evelyn would probably kind of move over to her and take her arm.
There are these figures. Giles heads over to the Mistress of Harpies, Lady Isabella, and a figure you don't know. Of course, everybody else will understand that this is the Primogen of Clan Gangrel. And then there's Omar Shadid. He is talking with
Jesus?
a figure you've not met before. In fact, a figure nobody has met before, I believe.
I don't think she's met Omar yet either, so...
No, but you will. Everybody meets Omar sooner or later.
Marco is keeping an eye on Amelie and the guy that's supporting her. But she sees Omar and a new person. She likes new people. She'll smile. Omar, how have you been?
Ah, my good Primogen. It is so good to see you again.
Thank you. It is good to see you too. Who is your friend? I do not believe I've had the pleasure of meeting them. And she'll smile. That angelic smile she has.
1 second. I'm actually going to see if I can get up the overlay. The internet is not being cooperative right now, and it's very frustrating.
It looks like Jesus. Just saying.
Well, not Jesus. I might actually look this up over my phone because the internet is actually not loading. And I don't know if it's a problem with the free forums. Yeah, it's a problem with the free forums. So let's see if I can refresh that, and I'll just keep spamming that until that works again. Until then, I just let me look at my phone. So I'll find an alternate way. I will find you the name of this man if it kills me.
Yeah, but then you can't SD.
I mean, all of you here are dead, and you're still talking. Let me just get up.
It's like the website has crashed.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a handle.
1 sec. I will just... Because I have a backup in the form of my phone.
My thing.
That looks like a drawing of Jason Momoa.
Oh, don't do this to me, phone. Don't you dare do this to me. I'll kill you. Oh man, I wish you could tell you this guy's name. I have his sheet and everything.
What is his name, Chris?
I'm trying to find out.
It's Jesus! Or it's Jason Momoa.
Didn't you make the sheet?
I did, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. That's why I'm getting the sheet up. Here we go. Finally, it works. Yeah. No. What she looks to you. He gives you his big wide toothy smile that goes wonderfully with his facial hair. And he just says, "Oh, this is my new friend, Hussam Aldin. He is an esteemed member of Clan Asimite, and like myself."
So what did you say his name was? You went a bit quick there.
If you cannot keep up with Omar Shadid, then get out of the room.
That was already
Get off the
you
table.
motherfucker.
Go big or go home. He said Hussam Aldin.
Hussam, okay. It is a pleasure to meet you, Hussam Aldin. And she'll bow. Short courtesy.
Wait a minute. What did you say his name was?
Hussam Aldin.
I think either you used that name before or I do know this guy.
I haven't used his name before. There was a character who had a similar surname.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll probably am wrong. I'm gonna look it up in my blue booking.
So yes, she'll bow. I am Lady Margot, Primogen of the Clan of Roysters.
He gives you a sly grin and gives you a slight bow and says, "A pleasure it is to meet you, Primogen of Clan Toreador. Iron Rose, I hear your sobriquet is called."
Yes, I have earned myself this nickname. Are you new to Edessa? I have not seen you before.
I have come and gone in nights past.
And to what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
My presence has been requested here by the mountain.
I shall thank the mountains.
The elder...
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead and then.
He actually takes that quite seriously. He does stop. And then waits for you to finish. And then he'll continue. The elders of my clan find the state of affairs here unsatisfactory, and as such I have been sent, along with several others, to balance the scales.
Good. I'm sure you will become a good member of our city. I look forward to getting to know you.
This is actually a rare opportunity for the residents of Edessa. When I enter a city, a few come to know me.
Well, as the Primogen of my clan, I welcome you.
Well, I hope you make use of me while I am still here. I do not know what will become of me once my duties here are completed.
Only fate will tell.
But Primogen, as my elder, you should know better than to trust such a figure as fate.
But what is fate? Is fate not what we make of it?
I would disagree entirely. In fact, I would believe that is completely contradictory to the idea of fate. Fate is a predetermined destination. To make whatever you will of fate is to exercise free will, to potentially direct yourself in a direction contrary to what fate desires or wills.
But if there is such a thing as fate, can we not go against it? Do we not have the power to change it?
If fate can be changed, I would very much question its existence or its relevance. He waits for you to respond.
Okay, so perhaps fate is only a story that whatever Lord has created us wants us to fulfill or would like us to fulfill, but our free will is stronger. Perhaps we are free to feel it or to do otherwise. If this is the case, perhaps it is not much. Well, sorry, I forgot the word he used. But yeah, so perhaps if this is the case, it doesn't carry much strength to us.
I, for one, am not a Malkavian, and could not tell you either way.
Shall off.
Whilst that is going on, Tristan wobbles over towards Primogen Gaia's side. Not really say much to her, just kind of greet her and just stand there. And after a little while, tell her, if it's not too much trouble, Primogen, I'd like to have a small conversation with you after Elysium is done.
Of course, Tristan, it would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
Feel free to join us if you wish.
Thank you. No. Yeah, no, I'll say hello to Isabel, to Giles, to the Mistress of Harpies, to everybody here. And it's like,
Outside of the Seneschal, this is a gathering of the city's best and brightest.
Why? That is quite a collection.
Lady Katarina speaks because my range for female characters is quite narrow. While I do consider us quite the motley crew, yes. And now with you here, Tristan, we are missing only one to complete our little circle, but it appears he is busy right now. She kind of looks, kind of leans on over and kind of looks, peers over towards the Seneschal, and then kind of looks back to the rest of you.
Just one, you say? And looks up to the Seneschal. Huh, I see.
You were at the tea house last night, weren't you?
I was indeed, yes. I was having so many lovely conversations.
And yes, with Isabella. Wow, it is strange. Almost everyone present at the tea house last night is now here again.
Why, of course. Why wouldn't we be? It's an Elysium. A very important one, if I am allowed to say so.
Oh yes, it is quite crowded in here. And if I may suggest, girls, if next time we could make use of the ground floor, that would be perhaps a bit more a bit more comfortable for everybody involved. I have to admit, it is a bit tight in here. Giles kind of rubs the bridge of his nose, as if he's like, God, am I having to deal with this like fucking nitpicker really?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
he is. He will say, funny that you should mention. I was actually going to talk to a couple of your clanmates later about seeing if we could find a way to construct a much larger and more prestigious Elysium. I know we do have the old old Elysium in the Merchants District, but the space there is somewhat limited, similar to here. I'd like to see that. Maybe we can create a venue more accustomed to grand gatherings such as this.
Chris, if it's free to say that Memnon is somewhere around the conversation, Giles can reach out to him anytime. Memnon can overhear what they're talking about. He'd interject.
It's sure it is relevant to you, so feel free to join in. This is a fairly tight room, so if people want to eavesdrop on conversations, they can just roll perception alert. It's difficulty 6.
Sure, I'll do that. Scored 2 success, looks like.
Yeah, you know, Giles is bringing you up. You can hear him. Don't hear too much of the conversation, but you hear him talking about another Elysium, and then he says your name. And he's talking to the Mistress of Harpies about it.
My fellow clanmate, if I'm correct. Right? Isabella? She's the mistress?
No, it's Katerina. Isabella is the Brujan neonate.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that clarifies things. Well, Memnon would respond with, "Oh, I thought I heard myself mention Giles. Are you speaking of this new Elysium you had in mind?"
I was thinking of holding it or constructing in a district that had more open space. Part of the problem of having a walled city is that there's not a lot of acreage to go around. I was actually thinking, I was wondering if we could construct one that would actually be outside of the city walls.
That would be a task.
Hmm.
Another task would be to expand the city itself.
Or perhaps expand downward, a section below ground?
Maybe, but the Nosferatu have monopolized most of that space. There are the old catacombs beneath the palace, but that also may be stepping on the prince's toes, and I'd rather not.
I've been working towards building a relationship with the Nosferatu. If there was some kickbacks in their favor for the section, is that possible that an agreement could be reached if they were to go for it?
Potentially, but I'll be honest with you, I have a little interest in building an Elysium under the ground.
I agree that it may not be quite aesthetic, but if real estate is the issue, it is an option that could remain yours.
Maybe. One, of course, can always expand upwards instead. But I believe either finding a way to expand one of the borders of the districts that are walled, or to construct an Elysium on the city outskirts may be superior. Also, less issues of prying eyes and overly curious mortals. I've been dealing with an increasing number of arrests as of late.
No doubt.
Sorry, did you say arrests?
Arrests, yeah.
No doubt the results of the overpopulation as of late.
I am concerned that these mass embraces are only going to perpetuate more conflict even after this war is over.
Of course it is. Vulgar tactics like these, they always have long-lasting consequences.
During my time here, I've dealt with Morton incursions about 4 or 5 times. Last time this happened, it was a plague, only a year ago. Would not
Got a
behoove
roll
us to
for
risk a
perception
second.
alertness on that.
Okay. Would not behoove us to risk another incursion so soon.
No.
That and this hysteria surrounding the Mount. Have you been there recently?
The Mount.
Which one?
Justinopolis. Moving through that place is like moving through syrup.
Is that the fountain?
No, he's talking about Justinopolis Mount.
I don't think I've been there.
It's the religious district. Lots of churches and burial grounds.
So yeah,
Yes,
I have three. I have 3 sexes on picking up because when the plague was mentioned, yeah, Margot was there.
Well, with the recent battles of light shows that have been taking place, I'm sure a spark of faith has launched itself into the city, which is a danger.
I'm not entirely sure what happened on the roof of Justinopolis, but I can tell it was in no way natural.
Of course not. Perhaps we'll get more answers this Elysium.
Did I hear mention of the dreadful times of the plague?
Why, yes, Primogen Margot. Why, yes, Primogen Margot, we were, but weren't you engaged with my good clanmate over there? Surely you're not going to leave him so lonely now, are you?
So she's the
Mistress of Harpies.
yeah, Mistress of Harpies, I guess, because can be.
Well, for the record, Isabella is armed with that spear.
In Elysium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gals doesn't seem to have any issue with it, funnily enough. For the record, you're the Primogen you've been allowed to take arms in. Anybody with that official title has not been allowed to take weapons in.
Okay,
so Menmon is a hound, he's been permitted. Irene is a harpy, she's been permitted. And nobody else,
Would have known that.
Driston doesn't really have to care because he can literally form claws out of his hands.
I can shapeshift. This is okay.
But
You
yeah.
can take the form of a rhino. I was, but I like to mingle in different I like to mingle with different people throughout the night. But what has the conversation gotten to mention of such dreadful times?
The halos at Justinopolis, that strange supernatural display of two seemingly angelic figures descending upon the mount. I don't actually believe they are. In fact, I perceived two indistinct pale auras in between the halos.
Well, that is certainly interesting.
The auras seem to be in conflict with each other. I don't actually think it was any display of kinship, quite the opposite. Of course, the hysteria this has all caused in Justinopolis has made that area now almost as dangerous as the fountain.
Yes. Which is something that we might have to deal with soon if the city doesn't want to face another witch hunt driven by the powers that be.
No. The last time this occurred, several neonates died, but outside of that we were able to contain the issue and withhold any more severe losses. Unfortunately, it was one of the victims was my great-grandchild.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It will not be forgotten. But thank you.
May I understand to suggest that perhaps a desecration of this church? Something publicly enough not to destroy its integrity or to alert the mortals, but so that they lose faith in this sign that they've seen.
My apologies, what were you suggesting?
Some way to desecrate or defame this holy image that these people have seen. That they see that it is more of a mundane trick played on them, something more scandalous to lead them to forget.
I don't quite know how one would explain away two large halos appearing in the sky battling as angelic figures. What I do know is that as time carries on, these impressions fade away, and if one is leaning towards an easier path, decadence for a bit, indulge in a bit of the maybe perhaps not often allowed pleasures of life, faith can be quickly swept away.
Tell me, Justin, are you familiar with, well, I do not want to make assumptions, but are you familiar with certain herbs that could make a being hallucinate?
Yes.
Then tell me, in your expertise, is there a thing that could cause, if partaken of, a mass hallucination or a shared one?
Not without specific powers of the blood.
But a thing that could cause a hallucination that, if introduced to our prospective victim, may cause them to reason that what they had seen was only that hallucination.
I mean, sure. If you were to imbibe certain plants, drugs, roots into a person's system with the right side ingredients, you could surely cause a person to hallucinate. However, giving it to them afterwards was a bit of a difficult trick. You have to convince them that they'd have taken it beforehand, and we'd have to do it en masse for the entire city, and even those beyond the city limits.
Surely, if a local well, or more than one, has been contaminated or affected by it by either an agent or negligence, this would affect more people.
Or one could simply employ the skills of Clan Ravnos. It is, after all, their
Indeed.
truest talents to be able to trick and deceive the masses, as it were. That's
very
Katarina talking.
That's very possible. It would take a bit of planning, but well, I don't know how the discipline of Clan Ravnos works in its exact nature, so perhaps?
Some of us are gifted with the ability to alter memories, and while you are correct that there are, we have seen it planting the seeds of doubt, shared memory might facilitate a bulwark against such hysteria given to religious fervor.
And what sort of hallucination would you induce?
You see Memnon shrug. That's, again, not my area of expertise, but something to explain why sudden lights and figures appeared in the sky. Clouds or birds, have you?
Yes. Surely an illusion of some nature will take away the spectacle that was caused.
Oh, a shock case of pareidolia.
I'm sorry, what was that word you used?
Katerina stated a shock case of pareidolia. Pareidolia, I'll give you the specific definition, is the tendency to interpret a vague stimulus as something known to the observer. So it's kind of like seeing faces in clouds, or it's kind of like the whole conspiracy theory with like someone like aliens put like the smiley face on Mars. Like people are seeing things that aren't actually there. Again, like seeing like people and shapes in the sky and the clouds and the stars. A certain arrangement of tiles being believed to show a specific shape, which isn't really the intent. It's basically people reacting to stimuli that doesn't actually exist.
Yes, Lady Katerina, that, I suppose, is quite the suggestion I'm going with. I mean, imagine, if you would, if some unforeseen species of bird was suddenly pushing itself amongst holes, pigeons, rooftops in the city. A small suggestion of mundanity. What they did see was nothing more than a bird and a trick of light.
Well, good luck in good luck deceiving an entire district. Again, my advice would be to contact the Primogen of Aravnos. She may be able to help you in this endeavor, or if you find a means to spread this particular hallucinogen across an entire neighborhood, then, well, I'm certainly not going to stop you. But it will need to be on a large scale, or perhaps you set up an event which is then proven a hoax.
You can see that Memnon is calculating her every word and suggestions.
That may actually be more more workable. Having the priesthood, of course, have already interpreted this great event as a sign from God, of course. If they could be encouraged to predict another that is then proven to be wrong when it actually does occur, that would do a lot to cause people to doubt in the figureheads of their god.
Yes, and they could spread that doubt on their own.
Or those with connections to the priesthood just could get them to disavow the entire event. I'm actually surprised there haven't been more intense reactions from the priesthood. Or the people, for that matter. The fervour and the frenzy about it, of course, is all there, but it almost feels like it's being contained.
Is it difficult for Cainites to enter the Mount?
Not usually, but if what Keeper Gar says is true, then it likely will be. I have not visited the Mount since the event, considering the stress I was put under from my brief kidnapping. I spent most of my time recuperating and ensuring that my assets have not been unduly harmed while I was gone.
I understand. I too was here that fateful night. The enemy revealed themselves. I too have been catching up on my duties. I suppose I'll take a look into the Mount itself. I would say that if I was a Cainite that were not as troubled by the faith of mortals, this kind of contrivance would aid me in my own defense of the domain, or haven, if that's the case.
Maybe. It's definitely something worth looking into. Perhaps both of you can work on it together. I'm also aware Lady Giovanni is looking into the issue, so maybe worth contacting her about it. She's quite invested in Justinopolis, as are most of the Cappadocians, of course, but her in particular. Now, I do hate to leave you all, but I must have a word with Lady Madeline, so if you would, I wish you all a pleasant evening.
Thank you for your insight, Katerina. I'm sorry, was I speaking to Isabella or Katerina? I'm trying to get these names down.
It's Katerina. Isabel hasn't actually said anything since throughout this conversation. She's really just been listening to all of you. She's been kind of gauging kind of weighing you in particular, Menron. Do you want to roll me a perception crafts on her spear, by the way?
Sure. Oh, does my cute sense of sight come into play?
Oh yeah. Do you have a specialty?
No, not yet.
Just an area of expertise. Okay. Your expertise does apply here, by the way, though, so you get the full dice and all that. But you get 3 successes. That spear is my vocabulary for this level of quality is very small. Magnificent, spectacular, illustrious, beyond perfection.
Ooh.
The make of the spear, also just for one, the actual the artistry of it is unbelievable. This is a level of craftsmanship that makes even you blush, and that is significant because you are a master craftsman. But this is far beyond any human level of skill. You don't actually believe any human could possibly make this. This is such a beautifully crafted spear. It is also unique. It doesn't really seem to be of any particular national design. It appears to be completely bespoke. It's basically a spear with a metal shaft, very unique carvings across the entirety of the shaft, up until there is the blade at the end of the shaft. It is almost as long as it is about as long. The end of the shaft is about as long as a sword, or almost as long, not quite. It's about as long as a short sword. So it's and the way the blade of the spear is also designed, again, the blade is like that of a sword. It's not that of a spear tip, or even a halberd's edge.
More like a gladius.
It's a bit longer than a gladius, really. Again, it's more like a short sword. It's a bit longer than a gladius. It's closer to an arming sword.
Okay. Memnon would definitely swagger over and entranced by this thing, and make he'll actually make an open comment about the craftsmanship of her spear. He'll say that it is exquisite.
Thank you. It is the heritage of my clan.
She said heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a heirloom in a sense, passed down from sire to child? Memnon tries to understand her meaning.
No, I won it off some scam artists in Constantinople.
A relic that has been stolen from your clan.
No, it was auctioned off.
Well, I must say that if whatever you purchased it for, I don't think there is an amount in coin that could match its quality.
Had my sire still been alive tonight, I would have procured it for him. Now I wield it in his stead.
I hope that the spear will honor you and you it.
It already has, and it will continue to do so.
Are you familiar with weapons?
Intimately.
So I speak to a warrior.
Do I look like a damsel?
I'm not, how is she dressed? Is she obviously like in?
She is lightly armored with a red cape presence. She looks largely as an overlay, although she's a bit more heavily armored.
Yes, Lady Isabella is a formidable warrior. I have seen her fight myself.
Well, I am in the business of arming warriors. If the lady would ever like to procure herself a new set of arms, armor, what have you, I'm easily found in the guild halls. You may find my forge there.
Perhaps, although I feel that as long as I wield this spear, I will always be well protected. Um, yeah, everybody can roll wits awareness here.
Awareness or alertness?
Perception awareness. Yeah, in regards to the weapon.
Hmm.
One success.
Yep. One success if it's regular diff.
5 successes, bitches.
Okay, so we'll
Don't
go
call me a
from
bitch.
1 and 2 successes. With 1 or 2 successes, everybody can tell that the weapon has. Well, the one time Arcadian figures out nothing. One or two successes. Can tell that the weapon has and there's something about it that feels weird. Something about it feels not unnatural, supernatural, not necessarily negative, but dangerous. With 3 successes, it's almost when Isabella speaks of a weapon fondly, it's almost like you hear it give off a very low ring. Like it's attached to her in some fashion. Just in the 5 successes, this weapon radiates immense danger, and it is clearly attuned to Isabella in some fashion.
Duly noted.
5 successes, yeah, you can tell that not entirely sure what it is, what it can do.
Would I be able to either make an occult check or like a kindred lore check to?
This would be Cainite law, yes.
Yeah.
You don't have brutal law, do you?
No, I don't. That is only one success.
One success, that's fine. You've heard of masters of the Potence discipline can craft weapons so dangerous that they can just rip through any material, that they can tear through kindred flesh without issue, that they can slice through armor as if it were butter, knock down fortress gates. It is the Bruja that are the most infamous for this. It was them who created this particular form of weapon craft with the Potence discipline. There's something else you notice. You actually see a rune on the kind of where the spear blade and the shaft connect. It's shielded by these kind of two wings that kind of wrap around the joint. It's kind of like a decorative piece, but actually ends up shielding the joint from any potential damage. You also notice weapon is basically impervious to any form of erosion.
Yeah.
But
would I be able to make a roll for knowledge about the rune? Is it like a crafter's mark or?
You're not sure what it is, but it does come across to you as mystical. You can't recall from where, but it has some sort of resonance. You also recognise that this spear is warded.
I'll file it away for later. But yeah, he kind of just looks at the spear, looks at Isabella, looks at the spear again, does a slight nod, and kind of puts his attention elsewhere.
She kind of just looks at you, and then kind of sees that you have some sort of understanding. She seems to react to your like sort of awkwardness, as in, I see, you understand. Good. Yes.
Magical items of that fortitude, none to fuck with.
Yes, magic.
Magic.
Yes. And as that goes on, Evelyn, and where's Madeline during all of this, by the way?
She's somewhat close by. She's seating Lady Catherine, I think.
Okay. Yeah, Katerina's heading towards you, Madeline. You just happen to be very close to this group.
Yay! I mean, good.
You recognize Amelie and Corentin, of course, but you do not recognize the ugly horned figure.
Madeline will go over. She will have heard some of the things with Amelie, and she will agree with the horned figure that she needs to be more assertive, and she will just in short, she will just say that she can help with that and teach her if she wants to.
Yeah, no, really, I don't need any teaching from anyone present. Thank you. Yes.
As you wish. Oh, I do not believe we have been properly introduced. My name is Sister Madeline. And she's introducing herself to the horned figure. Ancilla of Clan Sombra.
A pleasure to meet you, Lady Madeleine. My name is Azad Algozar, Elder of Clan Nosferatu and its new primogen. Just thought I'd come to the surface and make that announcement while the iron was hot, as it were, and everybody is panicking about all of these murders.
Well, panic aside, if one cannot be introduced and share pleasantries, well, that would be a sad day indeed. It is
To
an
be
honor.
fair, it's not something we normally do.
Well, that is other people's loss. I wish for it more, honestly.
Well, given that half my clan just got killed off by these bastards, I thought I'd show up and give us some presents up here.
Do not be discouraged.
Oh, I'm not. I
Well,
very much intend to get even on behalf of my clan.
and I will assist you in this. What was
Good.
done towards yours and many other clans was unspeakable. They will be
Oh,
avenged, and I will help to set it
always
right.
happy to have friends on the surface, yes.
Well, it is very good to meet you. If you would consider, mm, if you would consider it, I would wish for a moment of your time at a later date, of course. But such is up to your discretion, of course.
My dwellings are always available. Not always locatable, but always available.
Hmm. But then things are as they should be. No?
Yes, indeed, we are. We've had to make some very serious changes to the Warrens, given how much of it got compromised. He seems very nonplussed at that. And I have had a word with some of my clan's architects about how that came to be, and who may have enabled it.
Well, if I can be of any assistance, do not hesitate to call on me. A city without your clan is a blind and feckless city, in all honesty.
Well, I mean, even the Malkavians need someone to look down on them, alright? I'm joking.
She comes over and will
He literally like nudges Evelyn, like, I get it, because we're both low cons,
and as she takes his hand, smiles, and she
Whose hand are you taking?
the Nosferatu primogen, and she smiles and leans in, and then she whispers to him, "We both know that if there was any justice in this world, your clan would be at the very top." As she just leans backward or just parts way with him and smiles. She seems dead serious when she says this.
He gives a smile, and his jawline just slowly recedes about halfway across his cheekbones.
As in he's smiling, or?
Yeah.
She just nods at him. And yeah, she doesn't say much more than that. She just smiles. Again, there's, for anyone seeing this, well, whether or not they heard is a thing, but there is not a hint of sarcasm. There's not a hint of any, like, joke or anything. She is dead serious when she says this.
No, he recognizes that. What's Evelyn doing?
Evelyn is still probably arm in arm with Amelie, kind of just chatting with her.
yeah, normally you just go and say, hey, how are you?
I'm well. Are you doing better after
Yeah,
last night's
I'm good.
events?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. I'm glad you were distressed last night and it was upsetting.
No, I'm good now. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that.
My pleasure.
How are you doing? Nice dress, by the way.
Thank you.
She's never dressed on.
You know, I could make you something for these type of events.
I don't know. I kind of.
Oh, Evelyn. There is no reason to make her even more the center of attention. Unless you have not noticed that is not what she wishes the most in this world. She would look fascinating, but even more people would come to ask her of things and talk with her. And does not seem to be the poor thing's wish at the moment.
Then maybe Evelyn can make her a beautiful dress, then that she can wear in private for her
I
own
swear to
enjoyment.
Christ, Marco jumps around from conversation to conversation.
Yes, that's what she does. Deal with it.
Amelie looks very shady-eyed. She looks pretty shady right now.
Well, I would never wish to make you uncomfortable.
Amelie is slowly getting surrounded by kindred. Just Madeline is just.
Yeah, thanks, Madeline. Jesus. It looks a bit uncomfortable now. It's fine. I kind of like my kind of practical get up. It's fine. I kind of like it.
If that's what
To
you
be honest,
wish.
I just some more pockets and
I can make that happen.
yeah, I could use some pockets and some the belt for like a bunch of satchels because I need things.
And that's what I shall do.
Are you sure? You don't have to.
Well, if you won't let me make you a dress, at least let me do this.
Okay. Thanks. I guess.
Madeline just looks at the two fairly new arrivals and just greets them and just say, or she will direct. It was Evelyn's sire's grandsire that was the red man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she would just say, "Have you had the pleasure
It was his great grandsire.
of meeting your great grandsire? He is. It is not always easy to look at him.
Evelyn would kind of look over to Corentin at that. After she had given him the folded up mural the previous night.
Can't say I have, no.
Some say that if the more you talk of him, the more likely it is for him to appear. But
I do find such superstitions regarding my plan rather crude, to be completely honest.
I cannot say that whether or not I hold to them myself.
Here's how all ancients are. He will appear when he wishes to appear, and until then, we must simply act with patience.
Quite.
Yes, Primogen Margot, was there something you wished to add?
No, sorry, that was Ursi.
He is so annoyed with her.
In any case, when have you witnessed to the events of a few nights ago?
Which events specifically? In the mount?
Yes.
No, I cannot say that I was.
I see. I have been discussing various matters with certain members of your clan, Sister Madeline, and various others in regards to re-establishing Clan Macabian as a major entity within this city.
Margot will leave and bow to people as I have to go. I have nothing to get to.
Oh, good night. In any case,
I actually also have another scene, so
get out of here.
I'm going. I'm going. Hush, leave me alone.
Filthy traitors.
One and all.
Why are you so quiet?
It's
Okay then.
in any case, in time, I hope that I may come to become as well acquainted with you as I have been with Lady Katerina. He's saying that to you, Madeline.
Okay, can you repeat it? Because
He's just saying, in time, I hope I can become as well acquainted to you as I have become with Lady Katerina.
oh, and she would say, "Oh, I would certainly hope that we get the chance. I would welcome this
You are my
very much.
introduction into the city.
We have already had it done, but I must say, as with Clan Nosferatu, it has been a shame, and I really do welcome your clan once more. It is good to have you again, in earnest.
Yes. Gone 1 month too long.
She smiles at that.
The prince and the seneschal begin breaking off from their conversation and begin picking out various Cainites around the room. They begin approaching various elders and Cainites of station, the mistress of harpies, the keeper. But they also pick out Tristan, Memnon, Irene, I think actually all of you. The prince approaches you, Tristan, and approaches you, Memnon.
Memnon will try to make a cordial bow.
I need a moment.
Of course.
And the seneschal approaches Madeline and Irene.
A deep curtsy.
If you would.
At once, of course.
He also picks up the Nosferatu Primogen as well. These are standing fairly close together. Isabella also comes along.
With what group? Like the entire group, or?
Yeah, like a not insignificant portion of Cainites come along. It's about a quarter of the entire gathering.
Like who then is not invited?
Corentin is, or rather, he's not initially, immediately brings that up as a problem. The prince looks set to give him an earful, but the seneschal invites him in.
Interesting. Interesting.
None of these people are invited.
Okay.
And basically the rest of the gathering, everyone from basically every neonate, most of the ancillary aren't invited. It becomes very obviously apparent that everyone invited is either a member of station or someone who's seen conflict with the
Right.
with the enemy.
Right.
And you're all metaphorically dragged into another room. In your room there is a map of Edessa. In this room. On it there are a lot of markings signifying patrol routes, X marks, identifying either critical junctures, havens, locations of importance. Some are outside the city, some are inside. There are sketches attached to the map. Anybody who's seen Herman and El Tayyib and Tampus before will recognise it as those three.
Hey.
Recognize it as what?
Tavris, Herman, and
Ah,
Tayyib. Irene and Madeleine, I think, have met both.
mhm.
Yeah.
1 second, as I just switch back. The computer's being uncooperative, there we go. All of you have been invited here because you're either veterans in this war already, or because you represent large portions of this city's population. Thanks to information donated by many of you, she kind of gestures to you dressed in gestures to Nosferatu Primogen. The region's not here, Shem's not here, Cappadocian, of Primogen on here. She will actually gesture towards Lady Katerina though. We've been able to identify several havens and identify several patrol routes along the northern and southern sides of this domain. Thanks to the efforts of Master Dresden here, we've also been able to identify a military encampment outside the domain. Hosting a dozen members of our enemy. So far, the routes seem to take them around major commercial, cultural, political sites. She runs her finger along some patrol routes. Each one goes around a major building in the district that they patrol. For example, the one just north of Mount goes around the just north of building. The patrol in Noble's Quarter goes through several noble estates. Notably, I'm actually going to list them for you. It goes around the House of Lestors, House of Vendome, House Dopian, and House of Bellium. Irene, you recognize one of the patrol routes that goes through your domain has been crossed out.
I figured. Well, wait a minute. It has been crossed out, as in no longer exists, or?
2 patrol routes go through your domain. One of them has been
Okay.
crossed out, as in it no longer exists.
Huh. Okay. Check.
You know, wits roll if you want.
Sorry, what did you say?
You can roll me wits if you want.
Sure, why not? I'll probably botch this one. Oh, okay, I do not. I have 3 successes.
Hey, you remember that time you killed a bunch of Cainites of the Scourge? That was fun. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Yes, I'm a
Pat your
killer
head.
queen.
Pat your head, please. Seneschal pipes up. More importantly, these patrol routes indicate not only what our enemy may be targeting, but where some of their assets may actually exist. He points to the estate of House Solicitors. I will say this right now. If anybody in this room possesses assets among the noble family of Lestors, please voice it now. In fact, allow me to expand. If you possess assets among any of these particular sites, buildings, associations, please voice it now. Last thing we want is to be engaged in an act of friendly fire.
I would be very much pleased if you would leave that for me to deal with, as she will point out to the trade route that kind of goes through her domain and probably past a certain house.
You've already handled the situation once. I trust that you can handle it a second time. I am aware of your assets among, well, within your domain. It is to be expected. We will ensure none of your holdings are damaged to the best of our ability. We can't guarantee there will be no collateral, but we will contain it to the best of our ability.
If you need assistance to make sure that at least those who are under my protection will not be part of that collateral, I would be very much pleased to assist.
Of course, you would expect nothing less. We will. I have already given my call to action regarding sweeping the north side of the domain of Edessa. For those who represent the clans of, well, for those who represent the clans of those who shall volunteer, or for those who are volunteering now, please let it be known that we'll be attacking, and she points to Free Havens in Justinopolis.
This is the prince speaking.
Mm-hmm. Three nights from now, we'll destroy this haven. And the second night, on the night after, we'll destroy this haven. And an hour after dawn, we will launch an attack on this one. There are reported to be around 5 to 10 Cainites in each. The goal is to isolate them to a single haven and destroy them all simultaneously. Surrounding them all within their own haven while they are panicked and hungry.
Memnon would pledge his sword, as it has always been to you, your grace. I would gladly volunteer my time and efforts to see this through.
Seneschal nods, approving. Of any objections to this plan of action, I am open to the idea of alternatives.
I have a... Oh, go ahead.
I would have, while I see the merits of the plan, I have one question. What if they, only the inhabitants of these, see the moves already coming, or see this as a strike against them, and establish new heavens, or move to a place we do not currently know? This would give them time to relocate.
Well, my dear Lady Madeline, that is precisely what my clan is for, and it is precisely why I am here.
She smiles. It is good to know.
And I'm sure that the good gentleman Corentin can perform a very similar act on our south side. So if they do try and jump ship, we will be ready and aware of where precisely they're heading to. Perhaps some of us may even meet them there. I do wish to make myself known once again. It's been such a long time.
She smiles and she just nods at the Nosferatu Primogen and just looks smiles at the prince and nods.
Corentin doesn't like being volunteered, but he will say, I can assist Lady Isabella in a bit of spy work of our clan's own, yes. But even if they were to escape our sight conventionally, it would not be for long, given our clan's particular specialties.
May I ask? Sorry, Max, go ahead.
I wasn't saying anything. I was just moving.
Oh, okay. May I ask what happens if some of them would decide to surrender, join our cause?
Isabella also speak. I too wish to know. While a city suffers from overpopulation, I would not wish to slay those who witness the tyranny of their existence and wish to fight against it, and raise their blades in our name.
I would like to add my voice to that. There are obviously those that have been embraced and have been told what is currently going on in this battle. But there are also those that may have been tossed to the wind and simply left to fend for themselves. Do they fall underneath the right of destruction, underneath your judgment, my prince, or can they be spared? Can they be shown mercy?
As far as I'm concerned, all who wishes war against us fall under the right of destruction. However, should there be those who wish to turn against their masters, I'm can pledge their swords towards our cause. There may be a place for them, but we cannot allow a surplus of refugees into this domain. Even prior to this, the city was already close, bordering on overpopulation, sprees of disease and anemia. We can't afford many more
They don't,
entries.
they don't have to be here.
They don't. If a place can be found for them in another domain, and that domain accepts them, then I am fully satisfied with that course of action if that can be, if that idea can be applied, if it can be met, if it can be achieved.
If it is within reason, of course.
I would like to volunteer to find a way to make that happen.
I would volunteer the same as well as Lady Irene. What forces we can muster to our side should they voluntarily raise their blade in the defense of your Princeton, Your Grace, then, well, it would be a burden I believe some of us should share, if to win final victory.
The Central actually speaks up. If you wish to ensure the safety of these castaways, as the prince says, this domain can only do so much. But there are other domains that may be willing to accept them. Lady Madeleine and Irene.
Yes, my Senator.
You will need to travel to Latia. There is a prince there. The city has been recently scourged by praxis of its own. Its numbers have grown. Short-handed. I may be willing to accept some of these fledgling Cainites. If you convince them, of course, the prince, that they are worth the effort.
It would be an honor.
Irene. Speak to the Salubria that has recently entered this domain.
Of course.
There may be a place for those he wishes to save. Be it far from here, however.
At the mention of a salubre, Memnon would have a question for the seneschal if he was the last one talking.
Go ahead.
Sir, I have been wondering as to the allegiance of a particular Cainite that I heard rumored to be a associate of Herman, but perhaps not his clanmate. A Cainite by the name of Quill.
That is a very interesting name. I haven't heard that name brought up in a few years.
What course of action would you suggest for this one? Diplomacy or counterintelligence?
To my knowledge, Quill has made no moves against us. But as of right now, we will see. Keep an eye on him in the meantime. Yeah, meanie.
Memnon nods.
But yes, Lady Irene.
Yes.
Tell whom I should to speak with Zarathustra.
Yes, my prince.
You may have a place for these castaway salubri.
And you wish for me to accompany her?
No, you must head to Malatia. She may be willing to accept some of the Bruja, not the Venture, however.
Ah, I see.
I believe, given the stance of Venture leads, you would wish to see them all destroyed, Prince Chimera. I will accept a handful of survivors. Free, specifically.
That reminds me, Your Grace, if you have time for a private word, this one would wish to reveal to you some information I've come across.
That's what we're here for. Go on.
The initial night that Herman and his, children had attacked while most of us were in Constantinople, I was able to subdue 2 of their numbers. The others were destroyed. It has been somewhat hard making contact with the sheriff, but given the acceleration of circumstances, I would wish to present these captives to you. I felt it would be not within my place to interrogate them without your leave.
Please do. Your work is appreciated. But speaking of the sheriff, we need a new one.
And I was a little shocked.
Madeline will have to roll for that because that is news.
May I make a suggestion?
Oh, she fails. Madeline looks like, I'm sorry, what, bitch? No, but like she just, like her head just like looks at the prince and goes, "Excuse me."
Please, my harpy.
I would like to suggest Sememnon over here.
Memnon was drinking something. It just came out of his nose.
I apologize. I was under the assumption that we had a sheriff.
He's abdicated.
He has left his. Oh, well, I see.
I believe he will be dead in a matter of a few weeks, but we will see.
I think Sememnon of all hounds has been most active, most visibly active. I should add.
Madeline just dries a solitary tear of blood from one of her eyes. She doesn't. Her face doesn't move too much, but she just notices it, and just removes it.
Okay, Harry, what were you saying?
I mean, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Yeah, Memnon has already got experience with being a hound, and of the hounds, he has been most active and most visibly active. I've gotten to know him as quite a loyal individual. I am sure that he would not disappoint.
While this is a good suggestion, a good candidate, there are others. There are other candidates, but is this I humbly, I'm understanding that normally this would take more consideration, but do you wish us to reach a conclusion tonight?
No. Irene, roll me charisma expression, please.
Charisma expression. Okay. I can do this, I believe. Charisma and expression. Can I spend a willpower on this?
Yes.
Okay,
Basically,
I will spend a
rolling
willpower on
to
this.
talk up Memnon in front of the prince.
Wow. I am so happy I spent that willpower. Fuck, that's slow.
It's a really sad roll.
That is a really sad roll.
Say la vie.
But I have one success, because yay, willpower is the thing.
Yay.
Boy.
Okay. You talk him up. It's not the most inspirational speech, but it's something.
I mean, given the fact that she earlier tried to stop being a harpy, so she doesn't really expect that her praise is that great
Yeah, it doesn't
of a
help.
bonus right now.
Man, it's almost like you should have stopped resigning. Almost like it
It's
hurts
like
you when
maybe
you
she
can
should
move
just
people.
stop harpying, you know?
Maybe
Obviously
you
a bad harpy.
maybe you should just like not do that. I'm just saying. Anyway. The prince will just go. No, we'll figure this out at a later date. But an announcement will be made within 2 weeks once the issue has been resolved. Perhaps it can even be used to bait Hell and his lackeys into a trap.
If you give me leave, your prince, I will stake more of his lackeys. Only complete a bait.
I very much trust that you will, Master Memnon. there is also one final matter, and that is the matter of their mortal assets. They've yet to truly use them. The only real instance of them applying them, to our knowledge, was when they made their initial attack against us, and in how they utilize their fledgling patrols, disguising them as city watch guards or thugs. This would not be plausible unless they had assets in those areas. They likely have power over other mortal spheres. We need to find them and root them out. This will be left up to the individual clans to organize amongst themselves. However, for any Cainites looking to locate enemy assets among the aristocracy, I recommend you begin with Lady Katarina. She will be able to help you. There is another mod present here, but Lucretia Giovanni is working on locating anomalies among the Christian church and the local caliphate.
If you need help, I can help out with both nobility as well as the Christian church.
Oh, by the way, Memo, most people here are Muslims. Please spend a little PowerPoint.
I had already done that. If you scroll up in the chat.
Oh, fantastic. I'm really
Yep.
glad that you've normalized it. Thank you. You're better than me. You're much better than I am at fellow.
That's why you should be sheriff.
Yes, very good.
So I'll also talk you up out of character.
Thank you. But yeah, but Irene, when you mentioned that, Memnon would kindly mention what we had just completed, and perhaps that could we could use that as well as give it its attention when it comes to the clergy, Christian clergy, of course.
You're talking about the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just merely reminding you that we have this option.
She'll smile. Of course, I cannot forget this small miracle that you built in Riverside. I'm still very grateful for that.
A stepping stone, as all things ought to be.
If anyone wishes to use this church that Memnon built in Riverside, one of my goals is the current leader of this church, so feel free.
Noted. I believe that is all. Thanks for having you all here this evening. You are now all up to date on our war plans. Please disseminate the relevant information to your subordinates and the clanmates. Once these objectives are met, we will convene once more. And hopefully we will be in a position to put a final end to this. Now, we can call this meeting concluded.
Madeline will have a very quick conversation with the seneschal once the meeting is concluded.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish for me to leave immediately?
No, but I would expect you to have left by the end of the week. But I do understand you will need time to shield your own assets and prepare for the journey.
Indeed. Thank you. I have a thought or two regarding this new position. I will send a missive to you before I leave. She curtsies and leaves.
And I believe with everybody beginning to depart, Elysium will begin to wind down and eventually end. There is one last tidbit for those paying attention. When this person leaves, and she is very distinctive, she begins to walk home. She does not walk home alone. In fact, as she begins to walk home, and the Cainites disperse, normally being one of the last to leave, she is followed. Irene, everyone here can roll me perception, wits awareness, no, perception awareness. To spot the figure that follows her, because they are masked, using a strange supernatural ability unknown to them.
I have 2 successes.
I also have 2.
Memon actually gets free because he's a cute sight.
Nice.
Yay.
Go, Manon! Everybody stay the fuck away from my little Ravnos girl, because that's what she is.
As she goes home, she is followed. And it's like they're almost invisible, but you can just see through it. It's like they're camouflaged or cloaked. Almost like the environment deliberately obscures them with a breeze kicking up a smooth dust storm. But you can see them. This person is following her home.
Do we recognize the person?
Dumb!
No.
I mean, can we act on that? Because Irene would definitely not allow her to walk back home alone if that is a thing. Because, like I said,
Yeah, Madeline would also be like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's the 3 of us, so it's the trouble gang.
I mean,
Well, now Armley's keeps up by the fact that 3 Lysandra are following her.
no, I mean, who says anything about following? Like, no, Irene would just simply walk up to her and it's like, hey, do you mind if I walk you home? Because I don't trust the current state of affairs on the street, which is true. Because Irene is nice. Normally, generally, somewhat.
Sure. Okay. She kind of looks between you. Alright. Okay. And she'll just begin walking home and kind of pretending that you're not there. Well, she'll acknowledge Irene, but the rest of you are kind of...
I was gonna say, meow.
It's okay, she likes you.
Yes, I know.
You're her friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long does this person keep following her?
When they recognize that you're aware of them, they just stop and they walk away.
Can I confront the person? Not like combat or anything, she would just say, Good evening. May I have a moment?
They ignore you.
Fair enough.
The storm actually intensifies.
Storm intensifies. Did you say that?
Yep, the dust storm intensifies.
Huh. Lol. Okay.
And actually briefly separates you before the figure is gone.
Can we roll anything on the storm? Because we've seen Alkadir basically use storm things.
Not really.
Okay, check.
But yeah, as you walk calmly home, and she's immensely creeped out, apart from Irene. I think we can end the scene there. Thank you, Claire, for playing. Thank you, watchers, watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.